Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman. FP Santangelo Jr. is off today. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And in honor of our esteemed guest, who will come out in the next segment, the theme is baseball, and especially since we're getting into baseball season here. Our today's guest coming on in the next segment is Dennis Powell, retired baseball pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and now he's teaching leadership and inspirational words for coping with life, which will be kind of fun to talk to him about. If we have time, we'll also talk obviously a little bit about March Madness and Roger Goodell getting an extension. Who'd have thunk that one, right? All right, and then also is Lamar Jackson? Is he still on the topics here?
He has asked for a trade.
Yeah,
He has asked the Ravens for a trade.
All right, and when we come back again, we're going to talk to Dennis Powell about pitching for the Dodgers. He actually pitched in the '85 season, which was just getting them. They got in the playoffs, but they just couldn't get past those rascal Cardinals. All right, this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding between 7 to 10%. You know,
7 to 10%.
7 to 10, yeah. Interest rates are going up, and so they've raised their interest rate. You got to put a lot of money in to get that 10%, though. So,
Dennis, that's a little TV trick. You know, when somebody throws something out and then you want to really emphasize it. 7 to 10%.
Yes.
Like it's a big deal.
And I love the way you make your eyebrow, your eyes open up.
Oh, sure. 7 to 10%. Wow. Yeah.
All right. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. When we come back, we're going to have Dennis Powell on. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman, and I want to introduce our special guest, Dennis Powell, who is a pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Milwaukee Brewers, and Mariners, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having me on the show today. I'm honored. Really.
Well, thank you very much.
My first question, though, if I may raise my hand, if you could please give us your call-up story.
My call-up story was pretty amazing. I'm at AAA, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm 9-0. I start off the season 9 wins, 0 losses in Albuquerque, AAA. The team is about to leave for Hawaii. We're about to go to Hawaii trip, and I'm super excited. Never been to Hawaii. We leave from Albuquerque. We fly to LAX. From LAX, we fly all the way to Hawaii. We land. I'm seeing these beautiful waters. I'm super excited just to be able to get to Hawaii. Yeah. We bus to the hotel, right? We're getting our bags off the bus. This is minor leagues, getting our bags off the bus. Someone says, coach is calling you at the front desk. I go to the front desk. Coach has this look on his face, just befuddlement. And he says, hey, you just got traded. You got to go back to the airport. I said, I just got traded. He says, yeah. I said, who? He said, you just got traded to the majors, kid. Congratulations. And it was one of those things to where Hawaii just took an instant back seat. I mean, I was just oblivious really to what was going on, honestly, because I know, hey, you're getting called up, but I had no idea what called up really meant. It's almost like a horse chasing into battle. You know, he's just running into battle where they're shooting, but he has no idea. That was my story. So I went right back to the airport, flew to St. Louis, met the team for a Sunday morning game against the St. Louis Cardinals. That was my first day.
Hold on. You'd never been to Hawaii before.
Never been to Hawaii.
Okay. Did you even think, hey, coach, could you tell me this tomorrow? Because I just want to get some surfing in first.
No, I mean, I was honestly flying in, super excited. But when I heard that news, Hawaii just went out the window. It was like, no big deal. And I thought I couldn't have gotten no more happier until I seen the stadium, until I seen Busch Stadium. And then it just, I mean, the lights went on. I mean, I still had no idea where I was, honestly. I really didn't realize the major leagues until years later, but I was there. It was like my talent preceded my maturity, and it was just amazing. It
Wow,
really
just
was.
so and these were the days before cell phones, digital media. So
Yes, yes.
I'm just envisioning you throwing coins in the telephone book to call your folks and
No, and I didn't do that until after I got to the hotel. And I mean, just really just came down, and
Yeah.
they were just as oblivious as I was because they had no idea.
Yeah.
Even when I got signed as a free agent out of the semi-pro league, they had no idea. Hey, the Dodgers are signing me to a contract. Yeah, they stood with me when I signed my contract, but they had no idea what this, I was the first from that little town to even do anything like that. So they were oblivious. I was oblivious. They had no idea. Even when I called them and said, hey, I'm in the majors now, sure, they were excited. But again, at the end of the day, I don't really think they had an idea what the majors was until I went to Atlanta and they saw me pitch there against the Braves.
Yeah, because you're from Georgia.
So the
Yes,
Dodgers were on the road at the time you got called up. So you had
Yes.
to join the team in Atlanta.
I joined them in St. Louis.
Joined him in St. Louis.
Then we
Okay.
went to Pittsburgh, and then like a few weeks later, we went to Atlanta.
And that was
back home.
85, right?
Yes, 85.
So
yes.
85, they had a really good. St. Louis had a really good
Yes,
team back then.
absolutely.
I mean,
Yes,
you guys did
no.
too, obviously. But
Yes, no, they had a really good team. I pitched that Sunday. I pitched 2 innings on my debut. I gave up one first inning. I 3 up, 3 down. I followed, just Socha and Mike Socha, and then the second inning I gave up a run. But it was hot in St. Louis too. I remember it being over like 100 on that turf, and it was just. But again, you're in the majors. I mean, I don't even think, like I said, my heart was probably beating out in my chest. My palms were sweating, but I was in the bigs.
Did you say that when you first pitched, it was 3 up, 3 down, and then?
It was. I'm not saying it was 3 up, 3 down. I didn't give up a run in that first inning.
Yeah, so then you're probably going.
I think I gave up a hit to Tito Landrum. I think I gave up a hit to Tito Landrum in that first inning, but then I got through it, and then the next inning is where, yeah.
So did you kind of look and go, this is easy?
No, you never. No. I never ever. As a matter of fact, I still won't say that.
What's the deal?
That will never come out of my mouth. Even in the minors, AAA, it was never easy, but you could get away with mistakes in the minors. In the big leagues, that first year, I think I gave up maybe 12 or 13 homers that first year, and very few innings because simply, 3-1 counts, 2-1 counts, 2-0. In the minors, they would foul them off or blow them by a guy. Bigs, they were squaring them up, and it was like you better come up with learn how to pitch behind an account, which means throw off speed or some other pitch other than a fastball.
How long did it take you to process what was going on? You go to Busch Stadium, the clubhouse guy gives you a uniform. I don't know how they picked the number or whatever, but I mean, everything just seemed to kind of happen so fast.
Yes. No, everything happened so fast. I mean, the processing of it really, for me, like I said, it took some years to really understand. Yeah, I was traveling around with the club, was going out pitching, and some good games, some bad games. But just you're in the bigs it never settled those first couple of years. I mean, again, I don't know if it was just where I was raised, how I was raised, because, coming up in a town of 891 people population, I was not prepared even when I left home to play this game. I was not groomed to play it like players are today, travel ball and all of that. I was just playing baseball and I was just throwing a ball, and I had no idea. I never had that dream of, pitching in the majors or pitching in a World Series. I never had it because of where I grew up and where I come from.
Gotcha.
I was just a kid again. I was just playing a game of baseball. And
go ahead.
So this is a veteran clubhouse. Who was the veteran that warmed up to you first and went, "Hey, Rook, come over here. Let me show you how to be a professional"?
Actually, when I first got to the majors, Kenny Howell, which was a pitcher also for the Dodgers, RJ Reynolds, these were guys who were Franklin Stubbs. They actually took me in and allowed me to stay with them. They call you up, you stay at the hotel for the first week. Now you got to find a place. But those 3 guys took me in and basically said, "Hey, you can come and live with us, sleep on the couch here, But they really warmed up me. Kenny Howell was probably my closest friend that really began to show me just the ropes and, keep me on the narrow and talk to me and stuff like that. So Kenny Howell, the pitcher.
Sweet.
Yeah, Franklin Stubbs, that really resonates with. He went to Virginia
Franklin Stubbs, first baseman, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
beef.
So take us to Chavez Ravine.
Yes.
And for those that haven't been there, I mean, it's an awe-inspiring thing.
Yes,
Like when you
yes.
walk in,
Yes.
like I'm talking about at the lower level, on the clubhouse level,
Yes.
I'm just describing how it is now. You've got gold gloves on the right-hand side. You go, you see these MVP
Yes.
little trophies on the wall, and you go
Yes.
down the hall. And Edward,
Yes.
this would blow your mind. On the left and on the right are uniforms of
Yes.
like the greats that have
Yes.
ever played
Yes.
Dodger baseball. And it's
Wow.
just all the way down the corridor. You're just like
Yes.
looking, and you're just
Wow, that's
like,
awesome.
it's unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
So for you,
Grease. Yes.
what was that like?
But again, I mean, just coming into that venue or coming into that atmosphere was totally awesome. I mean, I knew of some of the history of the Dodgers, and just to put that uniform on and the history like you just described was just amazing. That I'm now pitching on the same team as Jackie Robinson, who came into this game, or Koufax, like you said, Venezuela. And so just to walk into that clubhouse, which is nowhere near as beautiful as it is today. Today is just like living in a house, a condominium under there. But it was just amazing. I mean, honestly, it was just mind-blowing. It was overwhelming for a kid like me that I had climbed to a level such as the major leagues. Again, couldn't quite process everything, but I knew that I was able to get the job done. And Tommy Lasorda just really was, I mean, overall, the best manager I ever had, because he was even keeled. So he gave me that welcome and feeling.
Tony Lasorda even keeled. Okay, hold on. We're gonna have to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay, hey, we're gonna go to our first commercial break here. We're talking baseball. Here's our trivia question. Other than the Yankees, which team was the last to win 2 consecutive World Series in the 20th century? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Russell Jackman, who we haven't heard from too much yet, and Dennis Powell, our special guest. Okay, here's our first trivia question. Other than the Yankees, which team was the last to win 2 consecutive World Series in the 20th century? Anybody?
Blanking.
What's that? What? I didn't hear. What?
I said I was blanking.
You're blanking?
Blanket too, yeah.
The
like crickets.
Toronto Blue Jays.
Was it the Blue Jays? Wow.
Yeah, was it Joe Carter?
Joe Carter, yeah.
And I believe Cito Gaston was the manager.
Mitch Williams down and in fastball, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was just wondering. So when you came into the clubhouse in St. Louis and you get your uniform, do you say, Fernando Valenzuela? No, I'm taking your number.
No,
I'm just teasing.
No, that number was already hanging in my locker, 48. I don't know whether they knew it from that was my number, because I don't think I had that number in the minors, but it was a number that I liked, 48, but it was already hanging there. And like you said, everything, I mean, Vern mentioned early, everything moves so fast. Oh, so-and-so's here. They already got a jersey for you, or they got everything for you. You're set up, you're traveling situated. Everything moved fast in the majors. Everything was, and it's night and day. The minor league clubhouse, the big league clubhouse. I mean, it's just like, I describe it. I'm finishing up a book here, and I describe it as going from a 7-Eleven to just a supermarket, just the clubhouse style. Everything you needed was in the majors. Everything you could imagine.
Did you get pranked at all?
Yeah, oh yeah. I was on a team with Fernando, Steve Sachs, and Rick Mundy, and so I got the sour cake trick where they slam your head in the cake. Tommy Lasorda sent me out with the lineup card on a Sunday day game, and the umpires are looking at me like, "Who are you, Rook?" And then everybody's in the dugout busting up because I'm not supposed to be out there. The old horn trick where they get this like trumpet, and they just give you the trumpet and say, "Hey, we can't blow this. Can you blow it?" And I didn't look at the end of it. Obviously, powder comes out and everything. Oh, yeah. I mean, we got pranked left and right. Yeah. Shoes.
Those are fun, innocent ones, though. I mean, nobody really is getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Suits being cut up, on traveling days, you got to go through the airport as Cinderella or something. I mean, guys, yeah, they were they were pranking because you had no other clothes. Either your uniform or you're going to put this on. So
I did want to ask you about.
Yeah.
Did you lose me? Hello, am I?
Oh, you're Laverne. We're losing you, but I know you wanted to ask about
Really?
Tommy
Again?
Lasorda.
Oh, geez.
So, Dennis, he said that he was
Clubhouse,
fairly
you know?
even keeled.
yeah, but I have to define that because even kill to me is not. He was fiery, believe me, and he could go off at the drop of a dime. But what I meant by even kill with me, because even when I was going good, Tommy was Tommy. When I was going bad, Tommy was Tommy. He saw me. He didn't bypass you. He didn't stop encouraging me or stop saying positive words to me. Now, on some of the other hands, and I loved them, I mean, because they were managers, but,
Sure.
Sweet Lou Piniella and Dick Williams, rest his soul, it was a different story. If you're going bad, you knew you were going bad. So you almost didn't, you almost wanted to avoid them. You know what I mean? Because you knew it was going to be with the Mariners. I had both of them with the Mariners. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, they would just walk by as though you were Casper the Ghost, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. But I liked them. I respected them, but they just didn't treat you the same as, Tommy was. For me, he was even kill, whereas other players might say, yeah, I don't like him, or he's too fiery, or he kicked it, whatever. But I just thought he treated me with that evenness.
Yeah, Lou Pinella would scare. He would scare me more than like Billy Martin. Billy Martin,
he was fighting with, when he was fighting with Charlton and Dibble and those guys, so he wasn't afraid to tell you what he thought.
The thing I liked about Lasorda is fact that he'd come into Candlestick Park. He knew the boos were coming. He was blowing kisses to the crowd.
Yeah.
He was really kind of playing up the whole, if you don't root for the Dodgers, you can't get into heaven and all that kind of stuff. So he was a showman. He could sell it.
Absolutely.
Then, it's funny. You get him in the clubhouse. You get him in the dugout. The F word is like a part of the basic, English language. Every other word.
Yeah. Oh, he was fiery. Absolutely. And if you say the wrong name or bring up the wrong team, or there was I was just thinking I was trying to think of this person that if you mention his name around him, it just set him off because something had happened in a past playoff or World Series. I forget.
Was this the one where he's in his office and he's asked about somebody's performance?
Yes.
And he just went off.
He just goes off. Yeah. The fire. I mean, he would. Yeah. I mean, he was Italian, had that little fire in there. And so you always went in his office and you saw the sausage or the pasta and stuff like that. So, Tommy was Tommy. But again, for me, the best coach I had at that level. And I've had some good ones. Like I said, Tom Trebleharn was very balanced as well with the Brewers. I was able to play with the Brewers.
Now, when you played with the Mariners, Ken Griffey Jr. was playing.
Ken and his dad. I played with him and his dad. And that was an honor. I got him on my wall here behind me, hugging the two of them. I mean, because that was special to see a father-son at the major league level. So I was able to play with him, Randy Johnson, Edgar Martinez, Jim Buhner, and those guys. It was, again, just another treat because these are guys who went on to just be great ball players. I mean, the big unit was just one of a kind. One of a kind, 6'9", 6'10" coming at you. But it was just something special. Again, I mean, for me, just coming out of that small town and seeing where I had arrived, it's a story you couldn't, like I said, tell. It was just something you had to live.
So let me ask you, you got traded from the Dodgers.
Yes.
To the point where you didn't get to play on their 88 team.
Right. Yeah.
And that was that special thing with Kirk and all that.
Yes.
Which is still a sore spot in us for A's fans, but that's okay. I'm just wondering, it's like, do you look at those, because obviously some of the guys were still on the team at the time.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Does that go through your mind at all? Like, oh man, I was on that team. And
yeah. Of course, yeah, because that's the closest I ever got to winning a ring, and to me, that's one of the most like. I guess that's what we want as an athlete. You want to be able to wear a World Series ring and to be able to say we're the best in the world. And I got traded in '87. to the Seattle Mariners. And it's ironic because I tell the story sometime. Matt Young, who I got traded for, myself and Mike Waters got traded for Matt Young. Matt comes to the Dodgers. I think he pitches maybe 5 or 6, 7, 9 innings, but then he gets hurt. But yet he wins the ring in '88. Then he goes on to Oakland the very next year.
Yeah.
And he wins another ring. So he gets 2 rings just going on, a couple of teams. Like, it happens like that sometimes. But yeah, I mean, you think about it, you get that close and it just didn't pan out for you. But I mean, again, just to be able to wear a major league uniform was, something that to me, it's priceless. It's
so
priceless.
Vern, before you came on, Dennis and I were talking because I looked him up on major league stuff, Wikipedia, whatever, and he's tied. There's three guys in all of baseball who have done this, and go ahead, Dennis. Tell him what.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm one of 3 guys that hold on. Excuse me. A major league record for hits, all extra base hits in the majors. So all of my hits were doubles. But I only got 3, but they were all doubles. And so it's exciting to still be a part of that record. Myself and Earl Hirsch, I keep forgetting the other guy. I know Earl Hirsch, but I forget the other couple of guys. But, as a pitcher, we always wanted to just swing for the fences. I mean, in the minors, down and before I got to pro ball, I could swing it. So you get the opportunity to swing it sometime in the majors with 2 outs, nobody on. Hey, you can swing away. Yeah. And I came that close in Jack Murphy Stadium. I hit one off the top left center of the wall, left center field.
Oh, almost got
went about maybe 5 inches from going out, 5, and it was a stand-up double. And ironically, that was probably one of my best games I ever pitched. I went like 8 1/3. And I lost 2-1 coming out of the game. But I gave up a home run to the other pitcher, Dave Dravecki. So the first run I gave up was a solo to Dravecki. Wow. So the next couple of innings, I got to hit a double. I thought I got him back, but it was a double. But I mean, it's again.
When you come back,
you're kind of a miniature little Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, very miniature. Very.
When you come back to the bench, do you tell the manager, hey, next time you need a pinch hitter?
Well, yeah, exactly. Look my way. Yeah. Now, I mean, Fernando had that label of being a good hitter too, and so yeah.
Wow. Okay, guys.
Well, I want to ask you a couple of questions when we come back on the other side. Go ahead, Everett.
All right. This one should be an easy one for baseball fans. All right. The great Walter Johnson, Honus Wagner, Babe Ruth, and Ty Cobb were 4 of the 5 greats inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1936. Who is missing from the list?
All right, give me the list again.
Okay, so there's 5 of them, right?
Yeah, there's 5.
Okay, so I'll give you 4, and you give me the last one. Walter Johnson, Honus Wagner, Babe Ruth, and Ty Cobb. Who's missing? All right, that's our trivia question. Stay with us, Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. Come on, you guys, you got to be baseball fans.
Good luck, Bert.
I have a guess.
All right, stay with us. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, Vern Glenn, Russell Jackman, Russell, at some point we got to know that you're here. And our special guest, Dennis Powell. Okay, guys. Second trivia question on baseball, and the original 5 guys who got inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1936: Walter Johnson, Honus Wagner, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and who's missing?
Walter Alston?
No. No, he came way later.
Manager of the Philadelphia A's.
No, Connie Mack? No.
No.
Christy Mathewson.
Of course. Yeah, famous giant. Yeah,
well, of course.
Two pitchers in there. Yeah, and it's funny because you think about that when guys come later and later, and then they go, "Oh my! I mean, this is the best guy ever." And I mean, Christy Mathewson obviously was, but it's just kind of interesting how you kind of look back, like Cy Young was not in there. He came in I think he came in 1939. So
that would have been my guess too.
Yeah,
that would have been my guess for Cy Young, but like I said, I'm like, yes. Yeah, it just seemed later. But 39, I thought it was even later than that.
Yeah, no, he came.
Yeah.
I think so. And it's funny because we've talked about this before. To me, that's the one record I think it would be really difficult to break is 511 wins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go
Well,
ahead. You're gonna ask.
Hey, Dennis, I don't know if you saw this, but Sergio Romo retired as a Giant.
Okay. Yeah. I saw he went back. Yeah.
Yeah, he went back on the roster, came in a game against the A's. I know he badly wanted to get it out, but he couldn't get it out.
Right.
And then Hunter Pence came in and in and got him. Big embrace, huge emotion, all that stuff. So my question is, when do you know that it's over? And just can you relate to somebody like Romo that just gave so much to the game,
right?
And had so many great moments as a Giant, World Series.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about your takes on that.
Right. Well, when do you know that is over? Yeah, I don't know if you know, except when you find it difficult to keep your body in that type of condition, to keep going out there and keep it grinding and keep it fit, number one. But then just the evolution of baseball players made it tougher, I believe. Like you said, he was really almost like Eckersley. You knew the pitch was coming. So you knew the slider was coming. It was just a matter of, like you said, waiting for him to make a mistake. Mm-hmm. And I think because of the evolution of the game, guys getting better, I think he just kind of felt it was getting tougher. So, yeah, I think the body, number one, knowing your body can't keep doing this 162 games. And just the difficulty of going out there saying, what's my role now? I don't throw as hard as these guys are throwing 97 and 100. My breaking pitch is the same pitch I've been using for the last 15, like I said, 18 years. It was just time. I think he knew the emotion of it. Obviously, no one wants to kind of walk off, I think, like that. Tom Brady's a good example of that. So I just think, it's very emotional. Hunter Pence coming out to get you. And just like I think Molina from the Cardinals, having to give up that mantle and pass it on to the next guy. I mean, you just kind of know from your body and just the aging side. And then maybe if you have a family on the other side too, that says, Dad, can you come home, type of thing. And, that's always tugging at us as fathers too, as you really have sacrificed your family for this great game.
My next question is this. What did you think of the Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout World Baseball Classic? I mean, this is the kind of thing to me that, I don't want to say saves baseball, but these kind of things that baseball needs, and we just got it. I mean, look at the scenario, bottom of the ninth.
Yeah.
3-2
1-run
count.
game.
It's a 1-run game.
Yeah.
And
teammates.
2 MVPs, 2 teammates facing each other.
Yeah. Very dramatic. I mean, I watched it. I watched a lot of those games. And again, just for it to end like it ended, the WBC, with that scenarios, which what a lot of people wanted to see. Me, I wanted to see at least a solo home run for the game to keep going. I mean, it just shows you the level of talent that Shohei Ohtani is. I mean, being able to hit and electrify on the offense and then go out and shut you down, that top three, Mookie and they're included, to be able and to end with 200-mile-an-hour fastballs with a slider that's probably on the corner that he might probably going to get called strike 3 if he don't swing. It was just impressive. And 3-2 count. I mean, let's don't forget that. Something's coming, but he had the gall to pull out a 3-2 slider right there. But he just on 2 fastballs by him. So I wouldn't have been surprised if he threw another 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Did you know that all 6 of those pitches violated the shot clock?
Oh yeah. I kind of was aware of that because someone made a Someone made a statement about that. I don't know whether it was on the media or social media or where it was, but I saw that later that's where that 9th inning type of tension in a close game, 2 superstar teams or players, you have to methodically walk your way through it. You can't just say, well, get back on and go. It's going to be, it takes some of that little, like you say, that edge out of the game for number one, for the pitcher and that little cat and mouse type of scenario. But yeah, all of them did. Yeah, I was aware of that. So can you imagine the umpire stepping from behind the plate and saying game over without that last pitch being played?
No, thank goodness he
Can
did.
you imagine all the stuff coming on the field?
Well, there's just remember how even just the All-Star game some years back, it was like really exciting. Go, no, okay, that's it, it's over. It's like,
Yeah.
get in that way.
Yeah.
Who was your two questions for you? One, who was your toughest hitter to face? And then when you watch baseball now, do you like mentally, oh, I would have done this? You know, how do you analyze?
Right. Well,
Is that a nice way of saying who owned you?
Well, I talked about it. I talked about it a little bit all the time, and it was impressive that although I'm a left-handed pitcher, Don Mattingly and Wade Boggs gave me trouble. I mean, they were just hitters that they just seemed to hit my pitches. You know, so Boggs, Mattingly. I mean, obviously they were great hitters. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. hit a double off it, but hey, I struck my friend out once too. So, so Ken Griffey Jr. I had a chance when I went to the Brewers. I went to. Say that again.
Yeah, just one thing about Mattingly. It was uncanny how I think he had 2 pop-ups in his career, something ridiculous.
Yes.
Pop-up. I mean, this guy he always just hit the ball. He never popped up. But go ahead.
Yes, and so I mean, you would have thought I would say Tony Gwynn, but I had some success against Tony. I pitched that one game. I hit the double off. I think he was, 1 for 4 over me, 1 for 4. But yeah, Mattingly and Boggs, I just felt were tough outs for me, just because again, breaking balls, fastballs. If I hung a slider, they would hit it in the right corner. If I had a good slider going away, they would slice it in the left corner or something. And it was just, if I hung one in, they would hit it in the gap. So it was just those 2 type of players.
You don't eat this thing.
Yeah, exactly. But really, and then today, I mean, all the guys were just good hitters. I mean, we had talked too about you think you're setting a guy up by going slow, change up, or up and away. Then I'm gonna go down and in, and all of a sudden you think you're gonna sneak one, and boom, these guys are like cobras. They just strike and they get it. Jeffrey Leonard. I remember Jeffrey Hackman taking me deep against the Giants, and it's just stuff like that. I mean, they're just all good, but those 2 guys stick out, Boggs and Mattingly.
What would you rather have? Movement or velocity?
I like movement. I like movement. I mean, velocity is one thing, but if it's straight, that they're going to hit it. I don't care. Again, you could, we talked about the Blue Jays. Mitch Williams threw that fastball down and in. Joe Carter whacks it. But movement to me, it's you can get that ground ball double play. You can get that riser. You can get a ball cutting away. That the hitter is always trying to square the ball up. So movement makes it a little more difficult to square up. So you're going to be able to get better outs. Maybe not hard contact. We talk about velocity off the bat these days with analytics. So movement to me gives me just that little bit of edge. Whereas on the other side, they're looking for velo. I mean, to me, you want to have velo. You want to have that whole package. You know what I mean? But if I had to take one or the other, I mean, if they would allow me to get to that level and keep pitching, movement to me is, again, something else. Mariano Rivera, I mean, movement on that cutter. It's just, hey, it's coming, but can you follow the movement?
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning too that the changeup is.
The changeup is a pitch that to me was a dinosaur. It was going extinct, but when you look at the WBC and how many high velocity pitchers threw the changeup more effectively to get these type of Trout, Mookie type of hitters out, Alonso. I mean, you're talking power hitters, good hitters. Schwarber, they were throwing changeups, even though they could throw 97, 98. They were throwing changeups to get these guys out because they know they can hit the hard stuff effectively to all parts of the field.
Imagine being up there and you're expecting 98.
Yeah, you're expecting 98.
Yeah. Swinging, and then suddenly it comes in at 85.
Especially when you got good arm action. I keep forgetting the guy Williams. I mean, that's what he primarily throws. The righty Williams primarily. I think like 55% changeups or something there. But you got it. This guy's one of the elites.
Yeah.
So that pitch is.
Did you play with Cambiotti? Because he was a knuckleballer.
No, he would know.
Oh, okay.
He was in Pittsburgh. Was he in Pittsburgh at one?
Because at some point,
I know the name, but I don't. He was never a teammate. Yeah.
But you never figured out.
No, the knuckleball. Tim Wakefield was the guy in my area that threw it. Wakefield, Charlie Huff. Yeah, but Wakefield was, Red Sox. I mean, he probably got 5 or 6 more years when he started throwing the knuckleball.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about Tom Candiotti. I tried to catch him one time. This is one of my Mr. Involvement stories. I went out to the A's and I got the uniform, got the catcher's mitt, got behind the dish, and I was going to catch Tom Candiotti. This is one of his throw on the side days, whatever. And so I'm in the crouch, and then Ray Fosse comes by and goes, "Hey man, you got a cup?" You better go on in and get a cup on.
You better get a cup.
Yeah, it's just a knuckleball.
Yeah, you better get a cup.
It's like, don't you just hold the mitt out and they just hit it?
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, man, you got to get a cup out." So
that's a good story.
I went on. I got a cup on, went out, got readjusted, and I was ready to catch him. And I hold the mitt out.
Right.
I did not catch one ball clean. There were so many balls that just skidded off the dish, hit me right in the jewels.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh my God.
Every year he sends Ray Fosse a birthday present.
I did. I thanked him for that.
No, absolutely. Because that's what the knuckleball does. The bottom falls out, and all of a sudden your glove's here, and it's just the bottom falls out, or it's just kind of jumping around, and yeah.
Hey guys, believe it or not, we're going to get to our last commercial break. This has been a lot of fun. Okay, baseball manager Connie Mack was the man at the helm of teams for 53 years. Manager John McGraw retired with 33 managerial seasons under his belt. Which manager in 2008 became the third manager in history to manage for 30 seasons? That's our trivia question, all right?
Okay.
Stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn, Russell Jackman, our special guest, Dennis Powell. All right, third trivia question. Baseball manager Connie Mack managed for 53 seasons. John McGraw with 33 seasons. Which manager in 2008 became the third manager in history to manage for 30 seasons?
Lasorda?
Yes.
Ah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm looking at the name. Tony La Russa.
I was going to say
I believe Dennis. Dennis. Yeah.
But I was going to give a guess on that because you said 2008. I'm like, okay, that's got to be the La Russa or Herzog or somebody like that. It's like,
okay. So before we cut to our thoughts today, Vern, you have a quick last question.
For Mr. Powell. I mean, out of everybody you faced, do you have a most memorable strikeout?
Well, I mean, not one that stands out in a game, but I always say that, because I know how good a hitter Darryl Strawberry was and how he really took a lot of left-handers too deep. The one, I guess, that I talk about a lot lately is just being able to strike out Darryl Strawberry a couple of times, knowing what he did and how he did it with such class. And like you said, I mean, he hit some real serious home runs. So Darryl would probably be one. I was saying earlier about not a strikeout, but the great Bo Jackson hit a home run off me. But
well, that's something to put in your pen.
But kids fall out when I say you pitched against Bo Jackson.
Yeah, but exactly. So Dennis Powell, former pitcher for the Dodgers, the Brewers, and the Mariners. Thank you so much for being our guest. We're going to go.
Yeah, this was fun.
This was fun. We're going to go to our thoughts for the day. George Bernard Shaw said, both optimists and pessimists contribute to society. The optimist invents the airplane. The pessimist invents the parachute. And how excited was the gardener about spring? So excited he wet his plants. All right.
Great dad joke. That's a good one. All right. That was good.
Okay. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, your host. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
All right. Good night. Thank you, guys.